Okay, activity 8, part B, chromosomes and sexual reproduction. So hopefully in the last slide and the video that was in it, you understand now that chromosomes and DNA are the same. It's just how it's packaged. So in part B, we're going to look at sexual reproduction. In part A, we talked about how cell division, when the cell divides, that's how asexual organisms reproduce. They just go from 1 to 2. For multicellular organisms, it is done for growth and also to repair cells that are damaged. We're going to talk about how they sexually reproduce now, multicellular organisms, and it does involve a type of cell division, but it's different than the one that was referred to in part A. And the one thing that I don't like about this section is that they did not call it mitosis in part A, which is what we were calling it, because both of these that we're going to be talking about are types of cell division. One is called mitosis, that was up above, and this one is going to be called meiosis. But I'm going to go ahead and start reading, and I just might add some clarification into it. So the 46 chromosomes in a human cell can be sorted into 23 matching pairs. Okay, now I want you to understand, these are still single chromosomes, okay? They haven't replicated, but there's pairs because you get one of each chromosome from each parent. Each chromosome looks identical to its partner with one exception, pair number 23, which are also called the sex chromosomes. Female humans have 2 X chromosomes, which are the bigger ones, while males have 1 X chromosome and Y chromosome. Okay, so here's this is called a karyotype, when we see a picture of the chromosomes all matched up and lined up together. This has 2 different chromosomes for the sex chromosome, and so we can tell this is a karyotype of a male. It's got 1 X and 1 Y. If they were the same size, we would know that they would both have to be X, and that would be a female. Now, there are some instances, some mutations, there's some abnormalities that result in maybe 2 Ys or 2 X's and a Y, but we're just going to look at the majority of the population here. So soon after these 23 pairs of chromosomes were observed, scientists noticed a pattern when sex cells formed. Okay, so let's think about that. The sex cells are called the sperm and the egg, remember? Sex cells, sperm and egg, are formed by a special kind of cell division. So I wasn't lying to you. It's still a type of cell division. It's different than part A's, in which each cell receives copies of exactly half of the chromosomes. So in part A, by the time you were finished, you ended up with the same number you started with. But now we're talking about the sex cells, the egg and the sperm, ending up with only half of the amount you started with. Okay. In humans, the body cells contain 46 chromosomes, but the egg and sperm contain only 23 chromosomes. So just like above, you ended up with identical cells. The daughter cells were identical to the parent in the number and everything else. Now it's different because now they have half the information, half the number of chromosomes. Here we go though. When a sperm and cell fertilizes an egg though, to form its first new cell of a new organism, the new cell has 46 chromosomes. And so the reason that this special cell division, meiosis, happens, why they have half of them, is because then when the egg and sperm come together, they combine, the new resulting cell will have 23 plus 23, 46. If they didn't reduce their number, if they did the type of cell division in part A, then they'd still have 46, 46, then they'd have 92. And so that can't happen because each person has the same amount. We want these 2 ending up ones, the new organisms, to have the same one. Half come from the mother and half come from the father. And I know this gets a little confusing, and there's all kinds of stages we're going to be talking about. So in this section, in activity 8, you're going to have a couple of practice assignments that are required. I'm not just doing one choice board. I'm requiring multiple types of practices and modeling because this is a little confusing, this section is. When sex cells are produced, exactly one member of each chromosome pair moves into each offspring cell. Thus, when an egg cell and a sperm come together in fertilization, the new cell has 23 complete pairs of chromosomes, or 46 total chromosomes. It might help to think of the 23 pairs of chromosomes as 23 pairs of socks. An egg cell has 1 of each kind of sock, and a sperm cell has the matching sock for each of the egg socks. Only when they come together, when the sperm fertilizes the egg, Does the resulting cell contain 23 complete pairs of socks? One member of each pair has come from the female parent and the other from the male parent. The chromosomes of each pair carry genes for the same characteristics. They're the same chromosome, same sock. So it's going to have the same genes, okay? Those same sections of DNA. See the diagram on the next page, but the two alleles of any one gene can be different. So remember the genes were these sections on the chromosomes? Like I had 3 of them on the picture on the previous slide. Okay, so it's the same set of direction. The directions are for the same trait, but they might be slightly different. Okay, it might be a slightly different code. This band set of instructions might say it's going to have orange as the resulting color. And this one, because of one little change up in that gene, might say it's going to be a blue tail color. Okay, so the pairs of chromosomes shown is from a heterozygous individual. One type of allele and one typical allele and one allele from Marfan syndrome. Okay, so they're in the same spot where that gene occurs, but they're different varieties. By comparing the microscope evidence to the works of Gregor Mendel, scientists realized that the chromosomes must carry the genes. Once scientists understood the location of the genes and the way they were passed to offspring, they realized the importance of Mendel's work.